It takes time and a detailed understanding of how child abuse affects the development of children into adults, something we have learned over the past 12 years since the formation of the Lantern Project. This experience has enabled us to develop a recovery framework which we call Unstructured Therapeutic Disclosure. It is based on our own personal experiences of abuse and therapy, together with the work we have done with some 1,500 victims of all ages, male and female, and from all backgrounds. The aim is to enable victims to move forward to a point that we call, and they can recognize as, a sustainable recovery. In 2008, we concluded that a more holistic approach was needed for the treatment of victims of psychosexual trauma than was currently available. The conventional approach involves the victims at the outset having to tell the police, GP, or a counsellor exactly what has happened to them, when it happened, who was involved, and how long it lasted. This very detail-specific event is referred to as disclosure, which inevitably re-traumatizes the victim. Detail-specific disclosure is not the place to begin the process. Our approach is to view disclosure as being a much wider event, encompassing not just the detail of the trauma itself, but everything that has resulted from it, of how the abuse will have impacted on the victim's development into adulthood. Before any therapeutic work can begin, it is essential to understand exactly where the individual is in terms of their general health, mental health, and social functioning. This process will provide enough information to create an initial care plan and enables us to recognize the type of trauma the individual has experienced without them having to disclose the detail of their abuse. Having completed the impact assessment, we explain in appropriately graphic detail exactly what happened to us. This reassures the victim that we already know what happened to them because we have been through the same trauma. This provides a bridge of trust over which they can walk, removing at a stroke any fears they may have of what they are expected to tell us and how we may react. A pivotal element in this therapeutic process is to give the victim a comprehensive explanation of what will have happened to them over the course of their life since the abuse. To help with this, we show them how other victims have experienced the same problems. This tells them that they are not alone and that their inevitable inner conflict, usually caused by feelings of guilt, shame, disgust, fear, and the idea that they are somehow different from everyone else, are not specific to them. Victims need their abuse to be acknowledged and understood by others. This is a complex area, so we help the victim to identify who really needs to know and who does not. Then how they should be told, how they are likely to react, with countermeasures ready for negative reaction, and what changes are likely to occur as a result. Victims also need some form of reconciliation, which is usually in the form of compensation for the abuse or punishment of the perpetrators. This is another highly complex area, so we identify with the victims the most suitable route, how to go about it, and the support they will need during the process. We work with other agencies, the victim's GP for example, to develop the clinical interventions necessary in addition to counselling that the victim will need in order to achieve what we define as a sustainable recovery. We do not use the term closure, as we do not accept the concept as it is normally used. We see the healing process as ongoing. This allows for good days and the inevitable bad days. The order in which these 6 elements are delivered is not significant in terms of the final outcome, hence the term unstructured. We have found that victims will respond in very different ways, and it is important that they be allowed to explore issues as they occur. There is usually a natural order to the way the total disclosure is achieved, most of which tends to evolve once we have completed the personal impact understanding element. On average, the time spent with each victim is about 7 months, during which we will have worked with them on a weekly basis to begin with, tailing off after about 3 months to once every 2 weeks and then once a month. Thereafter, we provide an as-required service, which enables survivors, as they have now become, to discuss any issues that crop up and to stay in touch with the project and with other survivors.